Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our November customer training. This is actually our last free monthly customer training for the year. We'll start back in December after, or I'm sorry, I apologize, in January after today. Today, we're going to cover Salamander Live Events. So we did a very high-level walkthrough earlier this year when we first launched Salamander Live version 3, but since then, we have added some exciting new features to the event chart that I will showcase today. During the training, if you have any questions, feel free to send them to me through the chat. As always, our trainings are recorded and will be posted on our Salamander Live YouTube channel. So let's first talk about access. So access to the events page in Salamander Live is included in all Salamander Live level packages. All subscribers will have access to the standard event features, which includes an event summary, weather information, a basic chart layout, a map with event and joined track app and tag app pin locations, and the ability to upload files. If your organization or account has upgraded to Events Pro, this unlocks additional features to manage your event. This includes an events chart functionality, the roster tab, and resource timer. Events Pro is included when subscribed to plans, so you get everything in Standard and Events Pro, or you can subscribe to Events Pro separately. Once subscribed, the Events Pro feature has to be assigned to your users for access. So let's take a look at that for access. So under the account, under security users, if you have access for this, if this is one of your roles is to manage licensing, we're going to take a look at this. I'm going to click on this person. So when you're creating the security user or editing, updating their profile, if you go under products, if you subscribe to Events Pro, you're going to see it listed here. So again, if you subscribe to plans, you'll automatically get the Events Pro and you'll be able to assign it to your users. So underneath the products, to assign it, simply select the contract. Select it and then make sure to click Save Changes. After selecting the product, make sure you're providing a role to the user that allows them to manage the Events Pro functionality. So if you're ever curious about what the Events Pro is, it's simply, again, all it does is it gives you access to those additional event management features and functionalities. So it opens those up. So you want to make sure that you have a role that allows you to manage those event features. So we're just going to take a look at the administrator here just so that it pulls up all the roles or all the permissions in this case. So you're going to go down to where it's going to be for events. So a lot of this right here. So you'll see event roster, event manual log entry, event resource timer, future, there'll be event tasks. And then there's additional when it comes to event chart. So there's an event pin management. So you'll see all of this here that's really related to event management. All right, so I'm going to log into a user that has just standard access. So you can see exactly what that looks like, especially for those that are online right now that does not have Events Pro. Because you are still able to go into the event side and still look at all the data that's collected through your track apps and or your rapid tags. Because there's always that misunderstanding or confusion about events on what you get access to. So this user will go to its profile just so you can see. This user is just assigned Salamander Live and the track app and has a role to manage the events and everything else. So all data, including events. So when I go to the events side, I'm going to take a look at my event. I'm going to look at this one called Code Training. So this was an event created through the track app. So if I go in here, you'll see that all the tabs at the top here are the same whether you have standard access or Events Pro. It depends on whether or not that tab, when you click on, has data. So general, everybody gets general. So general is just basically general information about the event. It's going to include a quick summary. So you're going to have a quick summary at the top left here. Shows you how many resources have checked into your event. So this is for responders or people. So again, this is your staff and responders. This next one is equipment. This next one is how many collections. The fourth icon with the plus, that's the for patients evacuees checked in or registered through our Rapid evac software. And then the last icon, which is the full person icon, that is to represent civilians, which are profiles that are created through our civilian account. Start date, running time, the event relationship. So it lets you know if this is the parent event or the child event. Um, of course, this account does not have plan, so you'll always see none under plan name. Run number, event type, organization name. This is going to be dependent on where you created it, if you have the ability to add that in when you create it. So if you create it through this through the track app, you can edit this information by clicking the edit button at the top here. And you're able to go in and put in a run number or a event type in here. Select it from the drop down. Run number, just think of that as a incident reference number. So if you have internal numbers you're tracking for your event, you can place that in here so that some of the reports do display that run number on the reports. Address information. Again, the address information would not have place based off your track. You can go in here and edit that as needed and then click save. Once you have the address entered, it will place the weather information over here. And then beneath that is going to show you who has joined into your event. So if you have multiple track app users, you have Rapid Tag joined in, you'll see that listed here. So there's different codings in here. T signifies that was a track app. So the track app user, Salamander Trainer 2 logged in. So this was internal join. You'll see L. L is for Salamander Live. You could possibly see G. G is for the tag app. R is for Rapid Tag. And then if you have Rapid Tag evac, you'd see E. So those are the different codes that you could see. I mean, if you have a legacy or legacy software command, you would see C for that. So that is our general. If you move over to the stats, everybody has access to the stats, but there's different modules or tiles of information you're going to find underneath the stats. So everybody has access to burn down. So burn down just basically does a estimate of how much money you're burning, so cost you're burning per hour or daily, and then what the total cost is. Okay, so this is all based on individual rates that were entered in to that resources profile or what you have entered in at the account level. So as a default account rate. So burn daily estimates are only going to be available for equipment, and then you'll get your total. So this total cost right here, you'll see that it should be similar in cost to your event cost report. So if you pull up the event cost report under the report side, you'll see that it should match up. It might be off by a couple pennies, but in most cases, it depends on when you pull the report. So you'll be able to see that information. Plan versus actual, again, that's in the name. This is only available for plan subscribers. And if those plan users, when they are creating the plan, if they click a checkbox called add to plan versus actual tile. Okay. On the chart tab, everybody has access to the chart. However, the difference between standard and Events Pro is some of the functionality. So in here, you'll notice that we are already on a basic chart feature. The reason why is you see at the top here, it says contact Salamander to upgrade. So that means to upgrade to Events Pro so you can truly utilize all the functionality that comes with the chart. So with standard access, you'll see that as you add in those assignments, they're going to be basically listed in line. So you'll see them listed in here. And then you'll see that within each assignment, there's going to be different icons. Those icons are lit up as those resources are checked in through your tracking application, whether that's Rapid Tag or the Track app, and or Rapid Tag evac if you're using that. These icons are clickable, so if you click on that, it will expand and it'll show you those resources that have checked in. So under Fire Branch, I've got 62 people and 1 collection. So you'll see if I expand that, I'll make it larger. You'll see that you'll be able to go through this list and see this information. So this is one of the areas that you'll be able to see your roster of resources. There's another area that we just opened up, and that's what I'm going to showcase to everyone today. You'll see your PAR counts at the bottom right. So you'll see number of responders. Again, this is total responders that's currently checked in, how many equipment, and collections. And again, if you're working with a civilian account and civilian records, that would be activated as well. These counts over here are related to Rapid Tag Evac. So then, of course, you got your buttons right here to take a picture of your assignments. Realign, you can center, zoom to fit if you need to. So it depends on how large your event is and how many assignments you've added. Now, what I'm going to showcase to you is what we just released in our last update to Salamander Live. So if you notice at the top, you're going to see that there is a full screen mode for the chart. So this is, again, just for standard access. I'm going to show you what you have access for this. Okay, so this full screen mode is also available for those that are subscribed to Events Pro. Okay, so in full screen mode, you're going to get this full screen chart as well as the ability to view your roster, which you normally would have never been able to do so because the roster tab right here is for Event Pro subscribers only. You'll see that there's no information appears there, even though it says there's 90 people, 20 pieces of equipment, 3 collections. But because you're locked down and you're not upgraded to Events Pro, you don't see any of that data. But under the chart now, you do have visibility to your roster. So if you go into full screen mode, you'll see that in here, you'll see everything. It just minimizes your main menu to the left. And then you'll see your full screen of all your assignments. You'll see the event name, start date, running time, and you'll still have your PAR counts down here. You can still utilize your zoom in, zoom out using your mouse, but you'll see at the very top right, you have some buttons that you can click to view the chart. You can view your roster, which you normally would not have had with a standard package, but you can do that through the full screen mode. So the roster here, what this does is it allows you to see the last check-in time for all your resources. So the resources are color-coded. So all people are going to be, so people meaning responders, your staff that's been, that are with a responder account will be in blue. Collections are going to be orange. And if you scroll down, we should have some other resources here. You'll see here that equipment is brown. And if we had any civilians, they would be green. So all these colors right here, they're the same as what you would see within your roster. From here, if you wanted to look at the information in a split view, you can. So you can split and see your chart at the very top and then your roster at the bottom. So there's a little scroll bar here. So this is something nice to have within your EOC if you pop it up on your large screen. So if you're managing this from the back end off scene, you'll be able to see your full chart right here as well as all the resources. And of course, these resources, they would be updating depending on your refresh rate. So there's a refresh rate that you can select up here. You can go anywhere from 1 minute up to an hour. You can set this. So once you set this, this screen will never idle and log out on you. Right? And so it will refresh every minute. This chart will refresh every minute, every 5 minutes. But once you're in full screen mode, it should not kick you out until you go out of full screen mode, and then the idling will start. So the countdown will start. So as you know, Salamander Live, when you're idle for 5 minutes, for security purposes, it will kick you out of the system and will make you log back into the system. So that is the new feature that's available to all subscribers for the chart. So again, you have to access that through the chart and then click the full screen button. Okay, full screen button's right there, which will take you into that view. Any questions on that? Feel free to send me questions through the chat. or you can unmute and ask as well. Moving on to the map, everybody has access to the map except depending on what you're viewing. So view in this case for standard users will have access to the event location, which is the red pin. That red pin is based off of what you're putting within the edit, so the event location right here through the address line. So it's using the latitude and the longitude for the event location to pin that. From there, if you have and subscribe to the track app, so if you have track app users joined in, you'll see their location. This track app user is idle. So you'll see that this pin right here tells you their location. The track app pin does move. So if the track app user is en route and they're moving, so every quarter mile, their pin would be moving in here. So you'll see this pin move every quarter mile as long as SalamanderLive is refreshing. So again, the map itself takes 2 cycles. That means a cycle is 5 minutes. That's the refresh cycle for SalamanderLive, so 5 minutes. So in this case, if it's 2 cycles, that means 10 minutes. So this map takes 10 minutes to update. If you want to update it right away to see their current location, click the refresh button in between here. You'll see it at the top right. You can refresh that and you'll see their newest location if they're moving out and about. Now the track app does not have breadcrumbs. The tag app does have breadcrumbs. So if you are subscribed to the tag app and you have users logged in where they can remotely check in, as they are moving, you'll see their pins update as well. And there is an ability for you to view breadcrumbs. So there's history on there to show you where they were, where they started, and where they're going and their direction. Now, the great thing about the track app is that if they don't have location services turned on, this will be the tag app as well. You'll see it listed here that you have users that don't have location services turned on. So that might be, warrant a phone call to them or a radio saying, hey, can you turn on your location services so we can see where you are? Because they'll be listed here, but their pin will not be posted. So that is the map. Again, everybody has access except for certain things like assignments. This is related to Events Pro. You'll never see these assignments pin unless you have Events Pro, where you're able to add in location information for the assignments. Roster tab, again, as we talked about, this tab right here is restricted to Events Pro users. Same thing with Resource Timer. And then last but not least, everybody has access to files. So if you have ICS forms that you've completed, you can upload them here, and anything else that's related to the event, post them here. This is a central database where they can have all the files uploaded and anybody that has access can view those files. Just make sure those files, just like any other file area within SalamanderLive, the file has to be less than 50 megabytes and cannot be password protected. And if you're unsure what files you can upload, just click this link right here and it'll tell you exactly what you can upload and what you can't. And of course, reports, standard access, you get access to all the reports. And not all the reports are going to contain information, depends on what you've collected for the event. So that is standard access. So this is standard access. Let's take a look at a user that actually has Events Pro. So Events Pro, same thing. You're going to click on Events. Okay, we're going to click on that same event just so you can see what has changed. So we're going to that co-training. You'll see everything on this tab is exactly the same, no changes there. On the Stats tab, again, no changes on here as well. On the Chart tab is where you're going to see those changes. So what you see now is 2 changes. One is that within the assignments, you now have this ellipsis button. It's a more options button that you can click, and now you can do some additional event management. So you can add resources, add people, equipment, add collection, just like if you were going to check them in through the track app. Details and edit, you can go in there and make some changes to that assignment, adding location information. You have new tab. So new tab is actually something new that we just started. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what that is. So that was released within our last update. Detach, move off scene, and then report. So detaching is where you can create a chart, and if you want to detach it from that main chart, you're able to do so. So those are all the different options in this case. And then the other option that you're going to see here is within your toolbar. You now have the ability to add assignments right from here. So similar to the track app where you can go in here and then look through your assignments list. The difference with this is that you can actually create one on the fly. So I'm just going through seeing what I have, what I don't have. So in this case, if I needed to add something, I could directly to this event. So in this case, I'm going to add, let me see what I have, what I don't have. Got a lot of stuff in here. I'm going to add an assignment called investigations, if I can spell. So you'll see in here, it's looking through my assignments database. It's not finding anything. You see that? No results. Does it mean I can't add it? No, I can. I can add it. So it's unlike the track app where you have to scan a resource or add a resource, then you can add in that new assignment. Here you can just add the assignment right away and then add your resources as needed. So it helps you manage your assignments from that from a higher level. So in this case, investigations, I'm going to add it by clicking the plus button, adds it to my selected area at the bottom here. So there it is. If I'm done, I can click save. So now I've added investigations. It's going to add it to my list here. And there it is. So from here, I can start building out a chart if I need to. So right now, as I added all these different assignments, because these assignments are added through the track app. So it just places everything in a nice line. In this case, if I want to create a chart, I have that capability to do so with Events Pro. So in this case, I can create that. So I'm going to start adding that in here. I'm just going to go in here and add everything. So I'm just going to click, drag, and drop. You see that? Click, drag, and drop. You'll see that EOC has that orange outline around it. If I let go, it's going to create that reporting structure. So I'll zoom in again so that you can actually see that. So again, click, drag, and drop. You'll see it has the outline, let go, and it creates that reporting structure. So it's placing it underneath that assignment. So you just keep going, keep building, and I can build that third tier. So again, I'm just adding and adding and just building this off. So there, I've just added everything in this case. So I've created the chart. There's my chart structure. From here, from the chart structure, I can start creating tabs if I need to. Now, this is a smaller scaled event, so if I had a large scale event, I can do a little bit more with this, but in this case, I just have one that has this here, but as I start building out, you'll see that I'll be able to create multiple tabs in here to represent the information. So I'm going to go to a different event just to showcase this for you. I have a larger scale event over here. Here's my example event. This is a larger event, much more assignments. So you can see on here, I just got a bunch of events or assignments in this case, built underneath the incident commander. So this is the new feature that we've just added is the ability to create tabs. So if you've ever worked with other command software, that's one of our legacy software, even though we have a lot of customers that are currently still using it. This is to replicate or mirror that. So in this case, if I'm going to create tabs, let's say I want a tab for my operations, I can click the more options, click new tab, and what it's going to do, it's going to leave this operations here, but what it's going to do, it's going to create a tab and pull that branch over into its own section. So in this case, if this is going to branch out further, I'll be able to at least just look at the operations section and see what's going on there. You'll see that the chart stays intact. All the resources are still there. If I go back to my main chart, it's still listed there. You'll see it's listed here, operations, it's still there. I can do another one with shelter over here if I wanted to. I can add a tab and I can have multiple tabs at the top here. So I can just keep building this out. I'll do one for planning. I'll do one for finance. I could do one for logistics. So there you go. It just gives me a better view. So this works great for those large scale events where each of your sections, it just spans down multiple tiers for your reporting structure. You'll see that within the tabs, you still have the options. You still have the more options in this case to add people. If you want to break it down further and add a tab down here for, let's say, Fire Branch, you have the ability to do so. So you can branch this out and add more tabs as needed. Now, when you add assignments, when you're adding assignments, just know that the assignments are adding to the main chart. You can click, drag, and drop it. So even though we have the operations assignment highlighted, or this say this section highlighted. If I add a new assignment in this case, I'm just going to add one called Leo Branch. I click Save. It's adding it to my main chart. So I have to go to my main chart and you'll see it added there in my main chart. You see that right here? Get larger. So there it is. And then I can click, drag, and drop it to where I want it to go. So if I add it to the operations section, I go to the operations, I'll see it there. So it's mirroring exactly from my main chart. And it's vice versa. If I do it from here, it'll also change it on the main chart as well. So that is tabbing. And then either creating the tabs, you can delete the tabs by clicking the delete button within that tab, and it'll just remove that operations tab. From here, if I needed to add resources, I can add any resources as I see fit for this. So in this case, I'm going to click on this Leo branch. I can go in here, click the more options and add people, add equipment, or add collection. When I do this, all it does is it pops up and add people. So it's pulling from your people database and giving you everybody that's available. Anybody that's in red is already included or added to the event, so you can't reselect them. Okay, so you have to do a move. So you can search by first name, last name, by organization. And you can do the exact same thing for equipment and collections. Personally, I like going into the details and edit because I can do all three in one screen, plus add in additional assignment details. So the assignment details, this is where you can go in and enter in more information for this assignment. So for example, if I wanted to categorize this assignment, I can. I can add a location for where this assignment is at, which is going to pin this onto my map using the latitude and longitude. So with address lines, as you know, if you worked with Salamander Live before, as you start entering in an address, it's pulling matches from Google. So you got to make sure that you select the drop down that's pulled in by Google. It should say powered by Google, and it should have a gray pin in front of it. That's how you know that's going to autofill in all the information, including latitude and longitude. So if I select this address right here, it's going to autofill in the information. There's latitude and longitude. From here, I can enter an additional assignment detail. So this is specifically for this assignment Leo branch. Put anything I want in here. This is going to make this available for all users that have access to the event to view the information for this assignment. I can click Save. Once I click Save, there's the address. It's going to pin my map. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit here. From here, I can add people, equipment, and collection, just like how it could from that more options. So in this case, I'm going to add people in here. I can look for people here. So I'm just doing moves with police. There it is. There's all my people. I can just click, 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 and add the people if I need to, or I can also do a search by name. I'm just doing a search by organization in this case. Makes it easier. Once I'm done, all I do is click Save. I can see who I've selected so far. Click Save, it's going to add the people. So now these people are checked in. So this is similar to that download function within the Track app when you're tapping that plus button and then searching through your list. Again, it's pulling what you have access to for resources. So you'll see in here, as I activate them, the icon will activate. I can click to expand this section and it'll give me the list of individuals that are checked in for this assignment. Now, for civilians, since this is a responder account, you're not going to be able to download civilians from here. Same thing with evacuees or patients. Those are, again, pulling from different accounts. So for a civilian, the only way to add a civilian to a responder account is by scanning their civilian barcode through the Track app. And of course, this, again, have to be registered through Rapid Take Evac for them to appear in this list. You do the exact same thing for equipment. So if you have equipment that you want to check in here, you have that capability to do so. It's the exact same thing. So I'm just going to put here. Okay, just selecting equipment, adding them right here. It's checking them in. So I know what pieces, what equipment I have on scene that's been deployed. Same thing for collections. If you have a collection in this case, you can add a collection. So collections that are checked in already in red. So in this case, I'm just scroll all the way down to my collections. Let's see what I have here. Oh, here it is. So I can select my collection, click save. So with collections, you can only select one at a time. You can't do a multiple selection. So you see in here, it's just highlighting the one. So click save. It's going to look at the resources. So in this case, right here, this collection's already in the event. So it means that these resources, and so even though they were placed within that collection, they were scanned in as individual resources. They're already in the event. So if you see that, that just tells you that they're checked in as a individual resource. So, sorry, bad example. Let me just go back in here and do the other K9 team. K9 Blaze. There it is. So Jeremy Jacobson is already checked in. That Ford Cruiser is already checked in. So all we need to check in is Blaze. Click Add. It's going to check in that collection plus that one resource that was with that collection. And there it is. The resource is in orange, lets you know it's part of a collection. So you can see the collection name there. You expand, you'll see there's the collection. Going back, you'll see that my power counts have increased in this case. If I need to move resources, I can move resources as needed. So in here, you can move resources through the chart, or you can do it from the roster. And what I mean by the roster is this roster right over here. Okay. So 2 different areas in which you can do so. So if I need to move someone, I can go over here. I can take a look at the person. So any of these individuals that needs to be moved, let's say Jeremy Jacobson, he's in situation unit in drone team 2. I can click the checkbox next to his name, click the move. I can move him where I need him to go. So I can even move him into his collection. So K9 Blaze if I want to move him. And then do the move. Move successful, should update, and there he is. You see that? It updated. Leo Branch, K9 Blaze is his collection name. So that can be done from the roster. It can be done from the chart as well. If you're doing it from the chart, it's a little bit different. The chart, you have to go into the chart itself. Let me see if I have this. Let's see. What do I have here? Bunch of resources. Oh, right here. Search and rescue. So I got a bunch of people in search and rescue. In this case, I'm going to click the more options. Click on details and edit. Click to expand the people section. These are all, you'll see that these individuals are resources that have not checked in yet. And then you'll see the resources down here. So in this case, if they have checked in, because this is actually a plan. So this is a plan. These are planned resources that have not checked in yet. So if I need to move someone, so I can move this person, I can move any one of these individuals, all I do is click the checkbox next to their name. Even if they're part of a collection, I can move them individually as well. So this is very similar to the process that you can do within the Track app. So I'm just going to move this one person, so Al Devlin. So you see that I click the checkbox. I can click multiple if I need to. You'll see at the top, you'll see that same move button, and I can move them where I need them to go. You see that? So let's say we're moving them over to, let's move them over to medical unit. Click move, and then you're going to see that they're going to be moved. So their name's going to be removed from this assignment since we're in the SAR assignment, and it'll be moved into that medical unit. So that's how you can also do a movement as well. If you're working with planned resources, how you activate them from Salamander Live, you'll see them listed there. You can also see that you have all active and planned. These are options you can click on to see who's active, and you look at those that are planned. So activating planned resources from Salamander Live is simply clicking that More Options button and then clicking Activate. Simple as that. So again, that is part of plans, not part of Events Pro. So you got to have plans in order to manage planned resources within the assignment. So that is activating planned resources with plans using the Events Pro feature and or moving resources and adding resources with Events Pro. Clicking the back button, going back to the main screen. So from here, I can go into my full chart screen mode if I need to. So again, this is the same functionality I showed earlier in the standard account. So same information, except this time I have all these different tabs at the top here. So I'm looking at my chart and I can look at my logistics, my finance, my planning, my shelter. Click the right arrow to move this over so you can see your last one. So as you add more tabs at the top here, you'll see that arrow button and you just click on it to view that specific chart you're looking at. If you want to look at your roster, again, you have this roster functionality because you have Events Pro on that roster tab. But this here gives you that same list. Everybody color coded per their resource type. And then you can also do a split screen as well. So you can look at your chart in this case. Your roster in here is everybody. It's not for what you have selected here. So it's for your full chart. But for the chart itself, you can look at all the different charts if you need to from here. Okay. And of course, you have your refresh rate as well that you can set on here. To get out of the chart, simply click to exit out of full screen mode. And then you're back to your main chart. From here, let's take a look at the map. So the map, the only difference that you're going to see in here from standard to Events Pro is that you're going to see assignment pins if you've added assignment locations. So you'll see in here if I zoom in, let me just zoom in real quick. And to zoom in, you do have to use the toolbar. So this is Leaflet, works different than Google Maps where you can use your mouse cursor. So you'll see all the assignments in this case. They're all locations. So I can click on it and it'll show me the location for those assignments. And if I have resources checked into them, you'll see them listed here as well. So you see that Fire Branch, 2 pieces of equipment. 6 responders, 2 equipment, 1 collection. You can also click from here if you just want to see that one assignment relative to its location relative to the event location. See that there as well. You can click that X at the top here. So you see on here, there's that X, you just uncheck it. So it unchecks this. Or you can just uncheck it from the assignments as well. So that is the difference between standard and Events Pro. You get the assignment pins. Roster tab, now you'll have to see this open up. So the roster tab, this roster tab is obviously very different than the roster you have on the chart side. The reason why is because there is functionality within this roster tab. So you're able to just not look at people, but you can look at people, your equipment, and your collections. And each of the resources that are listed, you'll see that their names are in blue. All of them are named in blue. It doesn't show the orange, blue, brown text. The reason why is because all of these resources are clickable. As long as you have access to their record, you can actually click on it and go into their records. So you see this? I just click on Storm Dog. So I clicked on it and it takes me into its profile. So if I need to edit anything, I can edit anything, or if I just need to look at it, I can view that information. To go back, you can just click your back button to go back to your history, or you can click on events again and go back to your event. I'm just going to click the back button because I didn't click on anything. So just one click versus multiple clicks. Takes me back to my roster where I was last at. So again, you can do that for equipment and collections as well to view their profile. From here, you also see that next to each of the records, if the record has a email recorded within its profile, you'll see an email icon appear next to that. Why is that email icon important? It's because in the roster tab here, you have the ability to email these resources. So you can actually email them. So you see that I can click multiple, and what that does is it activates that email button. Of course, you have the move button on here that's highlighted as well, but I can email resources directly from Salamander Live. So I can put a subject and the body, and it's going to record that under the communication section. So that email was sent out through the event side. And that email is going to look, let's see, I don't have anybody that probably has a true email in here. Let me look. No, all these are fake emails. If I had one, I can send one out. I'll pop one up here for you so you can see this. I haven't sent one in a long time. Let me just add someone really quick here that has a resource, an email. Where am I? Of course, the person I added didn't have resource, so I apologize on that. But the email itself, it's going to look very similar to just if you were to send out a communication through the people side. So it's really, really, really basic. It just shows subject and then the body of what you placed in there. So very, very simple for the email itself. And then from here, you also have the capability to do manual log edits. So this is probably one of the reasons why we have a lot of customers upgrade to Events Pro is to make those manual log edits. What that basically means is let's say that you have resources that checked in later. So let's say they were there, but for some reason they missed the checkout or the check-in station and they've been working for the last hour. So now you need to record that they were there an hour earlier than what is actually shown within the reports itself. So the manual log entry allows you to fix that. It makes a permanent change to the reports. This could be used for missed checkouts as well. So if you're looking for accurate cost reports because they forgot to check out and the clock has been running and you want to record that, hey, they didn't leave at 8 when I ended the event. They left at 3. We want to make sure they don't get paid for those additional 5 hours. So in this case, if you click the checkbox next to the record, you're going to see these options appear. This is that plus button right there is what it is. You can do up to 10 at the same time. So those 10 records that you select must have the same edits. So that's very important. So in this case, I'm going to select these individuals right here from Drone Team. So you select up to 10. Click the plus button and you're going to see the manual log entry. So again, with the manual log entry, you do have to have permissions to get access to this. So all the administrator roles will give you access to this. We do actually have one for manual log entry as well. So if they are a restricted user but you want them to have access to this without being an administrator, there is an additional permission you can add to their user profile to allow them to do this. So we're going to do it for today's date. So again, the time that you're looking at making the change for. So in this case, we're going to put the timeout for 10:30, my time. So my time right now is 10:45. I'm going to put that they are 10:30 and they're going off scene. So they've been off scene. I can put them off scene if I want to, or I can put them into a different assignment if I need to. So I'm going to move these individuals right now in their drone team 1. I'm going to move them over. Let's say that they originally checked in to operations. I can move them there. I can move them to SAR, move them everywhere I need to. Okay. So move over to resources unit. I understand I'm making a change. I click submit. I'm going to make that submission, and it's going to make that change. So in this case, you're going to see this information right here. Now it's not going to show that change in the report here because it's after the fact. You might not see that. So one thing to note on here is that you might not see the change right away because of this the roster tab. What it does is it pulls up the most active or most recent activity date. So if the activity date and time is later, so it's past, right now I put it for 10:30, it's not going to show up on here. So that's important to note. So you'll see that change within the reports itself, but you're not going to see the change within this roster tab. So you got to go to the report and you'll see that addition of that timestamp I made for situation unit for that for those individuals. So that's important to note on here. So that's a manual log entry. Other options that you have on here is to view their profile. So if you have one person selected in this case, I can view their profile. So this goes into their people profile. See that? Click the back button. Again, one record, I can click to view their contact card. So as of today, just their primary email appears on here. We will, in a future release, have their secondary email in here, as well as their other phone numbers that they've have saved within their profile. And then this here, this option right here is for assignment details. So this will actually take me into the staging assignment. So if I click on that, that's the assignment that he's assigned to. So there's staging, and that's where he's listed. So this allows me to just review this. I can edit information as needed, or I can move him, add more resources if I need to. So those are the functionality that you get within the roster. Oh, sorry, the roster tab. Okay. From here, I got files again, like I talked about earlier, and then you got the resource timer. So the resource timer in this case allows you to add individual timers for your resources that are checked in. So if you see a resource listed, but they don't have that start now button over here under the timer, it's because they're off scene. You can't start a clock for someone that's off scene. So they have to be in the event in an active assignment. So these are all done individually. So I can start the timer, put in the duration. If I'm looking at a minute or an hour and whatever, how many minutes. So it depends on what you're setting this for. So I'm going to set a minute for here and then 30 seconds, just so I can show you what this looks like. Click submit. You'll see the time. So the timer's right there is what I set it for, the warning at 30 seconds, and then the status as it counts down. So it'll be green. Once it hits the 30 seconds, it'll turn yellow, and then once expired, it's going to be red, and then you'll hear that alarm as well as the blinking of the resource timer to let you know that you've got a expired timer. Looks like a question. Is there any discussions about adding a notes field at the assignment level like Command once had? That is a great question. I can put that out there as a feature request, Brendan, and then follow up on that. I don't know if that is in the roadmap. I definitely see it as a benefit to having a notes section in here. I don't know if it would be an actual tab itself or it would be an option where you can select on here to add the notes. So we probably need to have more discussions how how that would benefit all of our users, where it would best fit to add it within the assignments itself or add it as an actual tab. So you'll see it blinking right here, resource timer. So I can be anywhere within these different tabs and it's going to be blinking. It's not going to sound until I go into the resource timer, and then it just has that sounding, that beeping, which you probably can't hear in your end, but it is beeping. And then all I need to do in here is to delete it. It closes that out. It does save that timer though, so it's in a report called resource timer. So a list of all the timers I've set would appear within this report. So the report in this case, the same type of reports that you have that you saw on the standard side. So lots of different reports. I just highly recommend you go through all the reports. We're not going to go through all the reports here today, but you're going to see there's all different reports pulling different information. So if you're looking at event summary or event, like a cost report for the event, it does a breakdown. If you're just looking at your people and you're looking at like a summary of when they checked in, when they checked out, their activity history, this is a great one. If you want activity history plus cost, you want this report here. And then you'll see that same with the equipment side. With collections, all you have is collection activity. As you know, the collections themselves, all their resources are parsed between their respective categories. So any piece of equipment, even if it's part of a collection, will appear within the equipment report, and same thing with people. And then you have qualification searches if you're looking for specific qualifications to move people into specific activities or tasks based off of their certifications. PIV and PIV activity, these are for our legacy software. So this is similar to our identity verification feature, but this is personnel identity verification. So unless you're working with one of our super legacy softwares, you don't ever have to open up these reports. If you're looking for identity verification, it's this report right here. So that is Events Pro for Access. So you can see there's lots of reasons why you'd want to upgrade. There's just so much more functionality, so much more information in different ways in which you can manage the event from administrator side. So highly recommend if you have not upgraded, definitely talk with your local sales rep, and then they can, if you'd like to, they can do another demo for you to show, all the benefits and advantages to having the Events Pro. But that's all I have for everyone today. This does end today's call. I just want to really go through those new features we added with the ability to view the chart view in full screen, split mode, as well as the ability to add tabs to your event chart. So any final questions from me before we end today's training? All right. Well, as always, I just want to thank you all so much for joining me today and throughout the entire year. We will not have any free training calls next month. We'll start back in January. Look for the bulletin next month that will showcase all the new trainings that we'll have available for the first quarter. And one of those I know for a fact will be on the updated and new tag app. So look out for that information. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much again. Have a great day. Take care. Stay warm.